English for musicians. Speak the language of music. Introduction. Music is like a special language everyone understands. It can make us feel happy, sad, or excited without needing to say a word. But when we want to talk about music, to learn more about it, or to make music with others, we need words. These words help us share our thoughts. Think about wanting to tell someone how a song makes you feel, but not knowing the right words. It can be hard to join in when you don't speak the same language. Music has many small details and big feelings. To really connect with other people who love music, to learn from great musicians, and to share your own music, you need to know the words musicians use. That's why we wrote this book. We want to teach you musical English vocabulary. It's like a special key that opens up a world of music for you. It's not just learning random English words. It's about learning the special words and phrases that musicians all over the world use. These words help us talk about everything in music, from a single note to a big concert. When you learn these musical English vocabulary words, you will understand music much better. Practicing will be easier. You will learn new songs faster. And your talks with other musicians will be more interesting and meaningful. This book, English for Musicians, Speak the Language of Music, will be your helpful friend on this journey. We think learning these words will help you understand music ideas better, play your instrument better, and connect with music lovers everywhere. You will learn the English words to describe different kinds of music, like the difference between classical music and jazz, or the strong feeling of rock music. We will learn the words for reading music, so you can understand the notes on the page. You will also learn the words for musical instruments, so you can talk about their sounds and how to play them. And when you listen to a concert, you will have the words to say what you hear, like how good the players are or how the music makes you feel. This is not just for people who study music. It's for everyone who makes or loves music. It's for students practicing, for people writing new songs, for bands playing together, and for people listening to music. Knowing the right English words for music ideas makes them easier to understand. It means your teachers can give clearer instructions, you can work better with your bandmates, and you can enjoy music more. In our world today, these words are your way to connect with musicians everywhere. They can lead to new friends, new learning, and shared music experiences. We made this book to be clear, helpful, and exciting. We will teach you musical English vocabulary little by little. We want you to feel sure of yourself. Get ready to speak the language of music like never before. 1. Learning music words. Music is a language we all feel. It helps us show joy, sadness, excitement, and peace without using many words. But to share our music ideas with others, especially in different countries, we need a common way to talk. For many musicians everywhere, that way is English. Think of it like learning to speak a new language to visit a new country. You need to know simple words to ask for help, buy food, and say hello. For musicians, learning English music words is the same. It helps us understand, create, and connect with people who love music as much as you do. This is where we begin our trip into musical English words. These words are the special collection of words and phrases that musicians and music lovers use to talk about everything about music. It's like a secret code that helps us understand music sheets, describe a nice song, or even explain a tricky beat. When we learn these words, we are not just learning English, we are learning to speak the language of music more clearly and deeply. Let's start with the very first things, the building blocks of any sound we hear. When we talk about how high or low a sound is, we use the word pitch. Imagine a tiny mouse squeaking, that's a high pitch. Now imagine a big lion roaring, that's a low pitch. The word note is also very important. A note is like a single musical sound. a specific pitch that we can write down on paper. So, when someone writes a song, they are writing a series of notes, each with its own pitch. Sometimes we talk about the tone of a note, which is about the special quality of its sound, like how a flute sounds different from a trumpet, even when they play the same note. Scientists might talk about frequency when they describe pitch, which is how fast the sound waves move. But for us musicians, pitch, note, and tone are the words we use every day. Now, let's move to the heartbeat of music: rhythm. Rhythm is what makes us want to tap our feet or dance. It is the pattern of sounds and quiet times in music. The most basic part of rhythm is the beat. Think of a clock ticking, tick-tock, tick-tock. Each tick is a beat. Music often has a steady beat that guides us. The word rhythm itself means how these beats are put together, the long and short sounds and quiet times. Is the music fast and lively or slow and calm? That is where tempo comes in. Tempo tells us how fast or slow the music is. We often use Italian words for tempo, like allegro for fast or adagio for slow. But the English word tempo is always understood. The length of a sound or a quiet time is called its duration. Some notes are held for a long time, while others are very short. This difference in duration helps create interesting rhythms. Then there is meter. Meter is like the pattern of strong and weak beats. In most music, we group beats into patterns. For example, a common meter has a strong beat followed by two weak beats like 1-2-3, 1-2-3. This is often written as a time signature. A time signature looks like a fraction, such as 4-4. The top number tells us how many beats are in each group, and the bottom number tells us what kind of note gets one beat. So, 4-4 means there are 4 beats in each group, and a quarter note gets one beat. Understanding these rhythm words is key to playing music together smoothly. When we talk about how loud or soft the music is, we are talking about dynamics. The English words loud and soft are simple and clear. But musicians also use special words, often from Italian, to describe different levels of loudness. Forte means loud and piano means soft. You might see these written on music paper. When the music gradually gets louder, we call it a crescendo. Imagine a wave getting bigger and bigger as it comes towards the shore. If the music gradually gets softer, it is a diminuendo or sometimes decrescendo. So dynamics is the general word for loudness, and forte, piano, crescendo, and diminuendo help us describe exactly how the loudness changes. Learning these words lets us shape the music and add feeling. Now let's think about the flow of notes. The order of notes that makes a tune is called a melody. Think of the tune you hum when you hear your favorite song. That is the melody. Sometimes 2 or more notes are played at the same time, and they sound nice together. This is called harmony. Harmony adds richness and depth to the melody. When we talk about a group of notes played together to create a harmonic sound, we often call it a chord. Chords are like the building blocks of harmony. And what about scales? A scale is a set of notes arranged in order, usually from low to high or high to low. Think of the do-re-mi you might have learned. That is a scale. Scales are very important because many melodies and harmonies are built using the notes from a certain scale. An interval is the distance between 2 notes, like the distance between do and mi. Why is having these specific English words for music so important for a musician's growth and working together, even more than just knowing general English? It is because music is very exact. When you want to tell another musician to play a note a little bit higher or to make the rhythm more lively, using the exact word like pitch or tempo makes sure you both understand the same thing. If you are in a band practice and the leader says, "Let's try that part with a stronger beat," everyone understands right away. If they say, "Can we make the dynamics a bit more piano here?" All the players know to play softer. Without these specific words, you might have to use long, confusing sentences, and even then, the exact meaning might be lost. This can lead to not understanding each other, feeling frustrated, and music that does not sound quite right. Learning these words is like getting a special key that unlocks clearer talking. It lets you share your musical thoughts and feelings with accuracy and confidence. How does understanding the English words for these basic musical parts, like pitch, rhythm, and dynamics, directly affect a musician's ability to play and perform music correctly? Let's take an example. Imagine you have a piece of sheet music. If you do not know what forte means, you might play a loud part too softly or a soft part too loudly. This changes what the composer wanted and the whole feeling of the music. If you do not understand tempo, you might play a fast piece too slowly, making it sound heavy and sad, instead of energetic and happy. In the same way, understanding rhythm and meter is very important for playing in time with other musicians. If one person has a different idea of where the beat is, the music will fall apart. Learning these words is not just about remembering them, it is about understanding the instructions that guide you to play the music as it was meant to be played, or even to shape it in a new and exciting way with your own ideas. Let's think about a musician named Maria. Maria is a skilled guitarist from a country where her own language is spoken. She loves playing folk music and dreams of sharing her songs with people all over the world. She learned to play by listening and by watching others, and she can create beautiful tunes. However, when she tried to join an international online music group, she found it hard to explain her ideas. When someone suggested, "Let's add a bit more drive to the chorus," Maria wasn't sure what they meant. Drive could mean many things. Was it a faster tempo? Louder dynamics? A different rhythm? She wanted to suggest a change to the harmony, but she only knew the word for chord in her language. She tried to describe it, but the other musicians looked confused. One day, Maria decided she needed to learn more English music words. She found a website and started learning. She learned that drive in that situation meant a stronger, more energetic rhythm and perhaps a louder volume. She learned that melody was the tune and harmony was the chords played underneath. She found words like syncopation for rhythms that are a bit off the main beat, and arpeggio for playing the notes of a chord one after another. She learned about different genres like rock, jazz, and classical, and the typical words used for each. The next time she joined an online session, she felt more sure of herself. When someone suggested, "Let's make the verse more intimate," Maria understood. She knew intimate in music often meant softer dynamics piano, a slower tempo adagio, and perhaps simpler, more flowing harmony. She was even able to suggest, "Maybe we can use a minor chord here to make the melody feel a little sadder," using the English word minor chord. The other musicians immediately understood her idea, and they were able to work together beautifully. Maria's guitar playing became richer, and her collaborations became much more successful. She realized that learning these specific English music words was not just about speaking a new language, it was about unlocking her own musical talent and connecting with a worldwide group of music lovers. She could now not only feel the music, but also talk about it, share it, and create it with others in a way she never could before. So, you see, these basic words, pitch, note, tone, beat, rhythm, tempo, duration, meter, time signature, dynamics, forte, piano, crescendo, diminuendo, melody, harmony, chord, scale, interval are not just random words. They are the important tools in your music box. They let you describe what you hear, what you feel, and what you want to create. They are the base on which all other music talks are built. Once we have a good understanding of these basic music words, we can start to explore how they are put together and used to describe the many different kinds of music in the world. Each type of music has its own special way of using these basic parts, and learning the words for each will help us understand and enjoy the amazing variety of music out there. 2. Talking about music styles. Music is like a big world full of sounds, colors, and feelings. Just like we have different words to say if the day is sunny or if it's raining and cozy, we have special English words for different kinds of music. These types of music are called genres. Learning these English genre names and how to talk about them is like getting a map to explore the huge and exciting music world. Think about it. Musicians all over the world speak English. If you want to understand music from different places, or talk to musicians from other countries, knowing these English words is very important. It helps you understand what they listen to, what they play, and what they like about it. This is what we call musical English vocabulary, the special words and phrases musicians use to talk about everything in music, from deep feelings to tiny notes. Let's start our journey by looking at some of the big, well-known music styles. We often hear about classical music. This music usually uses orchestras with violins, cellos, flutes, and many other instruments. You often hear it in concert halls, and it has a long history with composers like Bach and Mozart. It can sound very grand and full of feeling. Then there's jazz. Jazz is a very special music that often feels free and unplanned. It's known for improvisation, which means musicians make up music as they play. Jazz often uses instruments like trumpets, saxophones, pianos, and drums. It can be very lively and exciting or sometimes slow and thoughtful. Rock music is another big one. It's usually played by a band with electric guitars, bass guitar, and drums. Rock music can be loud and full of energy with a strong beat that makes you want to move. There are many kinds of rock, like the fast and angry sound of punk rock, or the more thoughtful and sometimes softer sounds of alternative rock. Pop music is short for popular music. It's the kind of music you hear on the radio a lot. Pop songs are often catchy, meaning they have tunes that stick in your head. They are usually easy to sing along to and are made for dancing and having fun. Hip-hop music is very different. It often includes rapping, which is like talking or singing very fast to a beat. Hip-hop music is known for its strong rhythms and often tells stories about life and society. Electronic music is made using computers and electronic instruments. This is a huge group with many different sounds. You might hear fast, danceable beats in house music, or steady, repeating rhythms in techno. Ambient music, on the other hand, is often very calm and creates a mood or feeling. Folk music is usually simpler and tells stories. It often uses instruments that don't need electricity, like guitars, banjos, or violins. Folk music often comes from the traditions of a country or area and can feel very personal and from the heart. And then there's world music. This is a very wide term for music from all around the world that isn't from Western popular or classical styles. It's a way to explore the amazing sounds and rhythms of different cultures. So, how do we actually talk about these styles in English? We need words to describe what they sound like. Let's think about the rhythm. Is it syncopated? That means the rhythm is a little bit off the main beat, making it feel jumpy and interesting, like in much jazz and reggae. Or is the rhythm driving? That means it's strong and powerful, pushing the music forward, common in rock and electronic music. Maybe the rhythm is laid back. This is a relaxed, slow, and easy rhythm, often found in reggae or some folk music. Or is it complex? This means the rhythm has many different parts and changes, which you might hear in progressive rock or some modern jazz. What about the melody, the tune of the music? Is it catchy? That means it's easy to remember and hum, like in pop music. Is it melancholy? This means it sounds sad or thoughtful, common in blues or some folk songs. Some melodies are angular, meaning they jump around a lot and don't flow smoothly. Others are lyrical, meaning they are smooth and song-like, almost like singing. And harmony? That's when different notes are played together. Is the harmony dissonant? This means the notes clash a bit, creating a tense or interesting sound, often used in modern classical music or some experimental rock. Or is it consonant? This means the notes sound nice and stable together, like in most pop music or traditional folk songs. Some music has complex harmony, with many chords and changes, while other music uses simple harmony, with fewer, more basic chords. We also talk about the instruments used. Is the music orchestral? That means it uses a large group of instruments, like a symphony orchestra. Is it electronic? As we said, this means it uses synthesizers and computers. Is it acoustic? This means it uses instruments that don't need electricity to make sound, like an acoustic guitar or a piano. Is it band-driven? This means the main sound comes from a band, usually with guitars, bass, and drums. The singing style is also very important. Is the singer's voice raspy? This means it sounds a little rough or husky, like some blues or rock singers. Is it smooth? This means it's clear and nice to listen to, common in R&B or some pop singers. Some singers have an operatic style, which is very powerful and trained, like in classical music. And then there's spoken word, where the words are spoken more than sung, often heard in hip-hop. When we put all these things together, we can describe the overall feeling of the music. Is it energetic? Does it make you feel full of life and ready to move? Is it introspective? Does it make you think and feel deeply? Is it danceable? Does it have a beat that makes you want to dance? Or is it experimental? Does it try new and unusual sounds and ideas? Now, let's look closer at how we describe these styles and how we can talk about their differences. When talking about a specific music style, what are the most important English words or phrases a musician needs to know to explain its main identity? Let's take jazz as an example. If you want to talk about jazz, some words are almost always used. You definitely need to mention improvisation. This is the main part of jazz, where musicians create solos and musical ideas right when they play. You might say, the saxophone solo was amazing, the improvisation was so creative. The rhythm in jazz is often syncopated, giving it that unique, swinging feel. You might describe the harmony as complex, as jazz often uses chords that are richer and more varied than in pop music. The sound of a jazz band is often described by its instruments. The brass section trumpets, trombones, and the woodwind section saxophones, clarinets, along with the rhythm section piano, bass, drums. A jazz performance can feel very spontaneous and interactive between the musicians. Now let's think about reggae. What are the key English words here? The rhythm is very special. It's often described as having a laid-back or bouncy feel. The guitar often plays a short, sharp chord on the offbeat, which is called the skank or chop. This emphasis on rhythm is very important. The bass lines in reggae are usually very strong and have a tune, giving the music a deep, pulsing feel. You might say, the bass line in this reggae track is so groovy. The singing in reggae is often smooth and thoughtful, sometimes telling stories or talking about social issues. The overall feeling is often described as mellow or chilled, even when the message is serious. Let's consider rock music again. For hard rock, you'd talk about powerful guitar riffs, those strong, memorable guitar tunes. The drums are usually heavy and driving, with a strong beat. The singing can be aggressive or shouting. The overall sound is often described as loud and energetic. For punk rock, you'd add words like fast, raw, and rebellious. The songs are often short and simple, with a do-it-yourself attitude. For electronic dance music (EDM), words like beats, loops, and synths are essential. You might describe the speed as upbeat or fast-paced. The music is often made to be danceable and to create a hypnotic feeling with its repeating rhythms. Different sub-styles have their own special words. House music often has a steady beat that hits on all 4 beats and soulful singing, while techno is often more simple and driving. The main thing is to choose the words that truly capture the spirit of the style. It's not just about knowing many words. It's about knowing which words create the clearest picture. How can a musician use English to explain the differences between 2 music styles that seem similar, and what special words help show these differences? This is where musical English vocabulary really helps. It lets us be exact. Let's take 2 styles that might sound the same to someone new to music: blues and country music. Both often use guitars and tell stories. However, the differences are important. Blues music often has a melancholy or wailing feeling, with bent notes on the guitar and a singing style that can be raw and full of feeling. The chord patterns in blues are often very specific, like the 12-bar blues structure. You might hear words like blue notes and call and response when talking about blues. The feeling is often about hardship, sadness, but also strength. Country music, while it can also be sad, often has a simpler, more direct melody. The instruments often include acoustic guitars, steel guitars, and sometimes a fiddle. The singing style is usually clear and easy to understand, telling stories about everyday life, love, and loss, but often in a more story-like way, less raw with emotion than blues. You might describe country music as having a twangy guitar sound or a heartfelt way of singing. While both can be about hardship, blues often expresses the pain more directly and intensely, while country might tell a story about getting through it. Let's try another comparison: soul music and R&B rhythm and blues. They are very close, but there are small differences. R&B, in its early form, came before soul. It had a strong beat and often focused on love and dancing. Soul music took this and added a deeper emotional feeling, often with singing that was influenced by gospel music. You might describe soul singers as having powerful voices with a lot of passion and vibrato, a wavering of the voice. The music often feels uplifting and spiritual, taking a lot from gospel traditions. R&B, while still soulful, might be described as more focused on the groove or dancing, especially in its modern forms. So, you use words like emotional feeling, spiritual influence, gospel roots for soul, and groove, dance-focused, strong beat for R&B to show the differences. Even within electronic music, the differences are important. Take ambient music versus techno. Ambient music is about creating an atmosphere or soundscape. It often doesn't have a strong beat and can be very slow or even still. The goal is to create a mood, to be immersive and calming. Techno, on the other hand, is built around a repeating, driving beat, often at a faster speed. It's made for dancing, for building energy on the dance floor. 3. Playing and singing music. When sounds leave the page and fill the air, that's when the real magic happens. It's feeling the guitar strings buzz under your fingers, breathing air to make a song, or tapping a rhythm to make a drum beat lively. This is the heart of making music. and English has many words to describe these wonderful actions. Think of your favorite singer. Do they just sing? Not really. They might croon a soft song, belt out a loud part, or whisper a quiet word. Each word shows how they use their voice. The same is true for instruments. A guitarist doesn't just play chords. They might strum them with energy, fingerpick them with care, or play each note one by one so they ring out clearly. A violinist doesn't just move the bow. They might draw it smoothly for a legato sound, where notes flow into each other. Or they might use short, quick movements for a staccato effect, where each note is separate like little dots of sound. A flutist might blow air across the opening to make a clear, bright sound, while a pianist taps the keys, each press making a different note come alive. How do we say how these actions happen? We use words that add color and feeling. A musician might play with feeling, meaning they put their emotions into every note. They might play with precision, hitting every note exactly right, with perfect timing and clearness. Sometimes, a performance can feel effortless, as if the music is just flowing out naturally, even though it took years of practice to get there. Other times, a singer might sing powerfully, their voice filling the room, or gently, like a soft wind. For instruments, there are special words to say how they are played. On string instruments, like the violin or cello, musicians might use pizzicato, which means plucking the strings with their fingers instead of the bow. This makes a lively drum-like sound. They might also use vibrato, a small, quick change in the pitch, which adds warmth and feeling to a note. Think of it like making a note shimmer a little. When we talk about playing or singing together, the words are about connection and working as a team. A band or choir that is in sync is playing or singing together perfectly, with the same rhythm and feel. They blend their voices or instruments, so the sounds mix into a beautiful whole, rather than sounding like separate parts. Fighting. Musicians talk about how they lock in together, meaning they find that perfect rhythm where everyone's playing feels connected and strong. This is especially important for the rhythm players, like drummers and bassists, who create the bass for the music. They need to keep time reliably, so everyone else knows exactly when to play their part. In group music, there's often a leader and followers. One musician might take the lead on a melody or a solo, showing the others where to go. The rest of the group then follows the cue, reacting to the leader's musical ideas. This kind of playing needs great listening skills and a shared understanding of the music. Even in a song that is carefully written, there's a subtle dance of who is more important at any moment. Every musician has their own special way of approaching music. When you talk about your own playing or singing, you can say things like, "My approach to the solo is to build tension slowly," or "I like to interpret the melody this way, by adding little extra notes here and there." This is where your own musical voice really shows in your English. It's not just about playing the notes right. It's about how you shape them, how you feel them, and what you want to say. This personal expression often comes from hard practice. Musicians might say they are working on my intonation, which means trying to sing or play notes that are perfectly in tune. Or they might say, "I'm trying to improve my breath control," a common goal for singers and wind players who need to hold notes and phrases. These phrases show they are trying to get better and push their musical limits. The aim of all this playing and singing is often to make people feel something. You might say, "This song makes me feel so happy," or "I want to convey a sense of longing through my voice." By using these kinds of phrases, you are sharing the deeper meaning behind the music. You are explaining not just what you are doing, but why you are doing it and what effect you hope it has on your listeners. The sound itself is something we can describe with specific words. A singer's voice might have a rich tone, full of warmth and depth. Or it might have clear articulation, meaning every word or syllable is easy to understand. An instrument might sound resonant, its notes lingering in the air, or breathy, with a soft, airy quality. A singer might have a gritty voice, with a slightly rough texture that adds character and power. Expression in music isn't just about hitting the right notes. It's about how loud or soft you play and how you shape the musical lines. We use Italian words for these loudness changes, which have become part of musical English. A crescendo is when the music gets gradually louder, and a diminuendo is when it gets gradually softer. We also talk about playing forte loud or piano soft, but it's more than just volume. It's about expressive phrasing, which means shaping musical sentences with care, just like you would shape a spoken sentence to show meaning. A phrase can be played smoothly and connectedly, or it can be broken up to create a certain effect. Let's imagine a story. A young guitarist, let's call her Mia, is practicing with her new band. They are trying to work out a new song. The drummer, Ben, is keeping a steady beat, but Mia feels something is missing in her guitar part. "Hey Ben," Mia says, her fingers still on the guitar strings. "Can we try that chorus again? I feel like my guitar is just there. It's not really doing anything with your beat." "What do you mean by doing anything?" "Well," Mia thinks for a moment. "Right now, I'm just strumming the chords. It's okay, but I want it to feel more alive. Maybe I can try a different rhythm? Something that locks in with your snare drum more?" The bassist, Liam, joins in. "I can follow your cue, Maya. If you want to play a more uneven rhythm, I can change my bass line to support it. We need to blend better as a rhythm section here." They play the chorus again. This time, Mia tries a more complex pattern, finger-picking some of the notes and using a more drum-like strum. She carefully tries to keep time with Ben's hi-hat, making her guitar part feel more connected. "That's much better," Ben says after they finish. "I can really feel your guitar now. It's not just background sound, it's part of the groove." Mia smiles, feeling more confident. "Yeah, I was trying to play with more feeling. I wanted to convey a sense of urgency in that section." Liam adds, "And your articulation on those higher notes was really clear. They cut through the sound nicely." This simple practice shows how a few key English phrases can make a big difference in how musicians talk and improve. Maya didn't just say, "My guitar part is boring." She used specific words: doing anything, locks in, follow your cue, support, blend, keep time, finger picking, strum, with more feeling, convey, articulation. These words are tools that let her point out exactly what she wants to change and how she wants to do it. This understanding of how we play and sing is the link from knowing music rules to actually making music. It's the language of action, of creation, of bringing sounds to life. When we can talk about our playing and singing, we can share our musical ideas better, work with others more smoothly, and feel closer to the music we create. It's about moving from the idea of notes on a page to the lively, living world of sound. Think of a singer, Leo, getting ready for a solo performance. He is working on a jazz song. He knows the melody and the chords, but he wants his performance to be truly his own. "I need to work on my phrasing," Leo tells his singing teacher, Miss Anya. "I feel like I'm just singing the notes, but I'm not telling the story of the song." Ms. Anya smiles. "Let's think about how you want to interpret this melody. Do you want to sing it smoothly with long, flowing lines, or perhaps use more staccato notes to create a playful feel?" Leo tries singing a part again. "This part," he says, pointing to a section of the music. "I want it to sound a bit breathy here, to show a moment of weakness. And then, when the melody goes up, I want to hit that note powerfully with a little vibrato. That's a great idea, Miss. Anya says. And what about the loudness? Are you planning a crescendo leading into the high note? Yes, Leo says. I want to build the excitement. I want the audience to feel the emotion I'm trying to convey. This song is about wanting something, so I want my voice to sound full and rich, but also with that touch of softness. They spend time practicing these details. Leo learns to control his breath to make a soft, breathy sound, and then to push more air for a strong, clear note. He practices shaping the musical lines, making sure each phrase has a clear start, middle, and end. He tries singing parts forte and piano and making slow changes in volume. You're really starting to own this song, Leo, Miss. Anya says at the end of the lesson. You're not just singing the notes, you're performing them. You're using your voice to paint a picture and create feelings. Leo feels a deep happiness. He knows that learning these English words for singing technique and expression has helped him reach a new level of skill. It's not just about the sound, it's about the reason behind the sound and how he can clearly show that reason through his voice. This journey from simply playing or singing to performing with purpose and skill is a very important one for any musician. The words we use to describe these actions, techniques, and desired effects are not just for learning, they are for doing. It's the language that lets us turn our inner musical ideas into sounds that can be heard and to share those ideas with others. When we can talk about our playing and singing with accuracy and feeling, we can connect more deeply with our instruments, our voices, our fellow musicians, and our listeners. It's the language of music making itself. 4. Music tools and shows. Imagine a young musician, Anya. She loves music with all her heart, but struggles to talk about it in English. Anya plays the violin very well. She knows every note and how to hold the bow. But when she met a conductor from an English-speaking country, explaining her love for music felt impossible. "May a string thing very good," she said, her face turning red. The conductor smiled, but Anya felt sad. She wished she had the right words to share how wonderful her instrument was. This is where learning English words for music becomes very helpful, like finding a key. Our instruments are like our best friends for making music. The places where we share our music are like where our music speaks to others. In this section, we will learn the English words to clearly talk about these important parts of a musician's life. Let's start with our instruments. They are more than just objects. They are like parts of ourselves. English has many words to describe them. Knowing these words helps us talk to musicians from all over the world. Think about the main groups of instruments. We have string instruments like the guitar, violin, cello, and bass. These make sound when their strings move. We can do this by pulling, hitting, or moving a stick called a bow across them. For a violin, a musician uses a bow, which is a stick with hair on it. Moving the bow over the strings makes a smooth sound. For a guitar, a musician might use a small piece of plastic or metal called a pick to hit or pull the strings. This makes a different, brighter sound. Then there are wind instruments. These make sound when air is blown through them. We can divide these into two groups. Brass instruments are usually made of metal and include the trumpet, trombone, and tuba. When a musician blows into a part called a mouthpiece, their lips vibrate, making the air inside the instrument move. Woodwind instruments, even if made of metal today, were once made of wood. These include the flute, clarinet, and saxophone. For some woodwinds, like the clarinet or saxophone, a small piece of material called a reed vibrates when air is blown past it, making the sound. Next, we have percussion instruments. These make sound when they are hit, shaken, or scraped. The most common is the drum kit, which is a group of different drums and metal plates called cymbals. Think of the snare drum, the bass drum, the big one you hit with your foot, and the cymbals that make a loud, ringing sound. Other percussion instruments include the tambourine, xylophone, and triangle. And of course, there are keyboard instruments, where pressing a key makes a sound. The most famous is the piano, with its many keys. But we also have the organ, the harpsichord, and modern synthesizers. Besides the main instrument, there are many smaller parts that are also important. These are like other tools. For a violinist or cellist, rosin is important. It is a sticky stuff that they rub on the bow hair. Without rosin, the bow would slide on the strings without making a clear sound. For guitarists, a capo is a useful tool. It is a clamp that fits on the guitar's neck. It makes the strings shorter and raises the sound of all of them at once. This lets the musician play in different keys without moving their fingers too much. It is very important to keep our instruments in tune. A tuner is a small electronic device that helps musicians make sure each string or note has the right pitch. And to practice rhythm and timing, a metronome is very useful. It is a device that makes a regular clicking sound, helping musicians keep a steady beat. For singers and many instrumentalists, a microphone is a key tool. It picks up their sound and sends it to speakers so more people can hear. Musicians might also use cables to connect their instruments to sound systems, and pedals like stomp boxes that can change the sound of an electric guitar or keyboard in interesting ways. Now, let's think about where all this music comes to life, the shows. English has many words for these events and the places they happen. A large, special event, often with an orchestra or a famous singer, is usually called a concert. But for smaller, more casual performances, especially in pubs or clubs, we often use the word gig. A recital is usually a performance by one musician or a small group, often in a quieter, more personal place. Music festivals, like big events with many artists over several days, are called festivals. Music can also be part of other kinds of shows. An opera is a story told through music, with singers acting out the story. A theater is a place where plays are performed, but it can also have musical shows. Larger places for concerts might be called an auditorium, a hall, or even a stadium for very big events. Smaller, more casual places are often called clubs. The main place where the performance happens is the stage. This is the raised platform where the musicians play. And behind the stage, where performers can get ready, is the backstage area. Talking about how a show felt is also an important part of musical English. When a performance is so good that the audience stands up and claps a lot, it is called a standing ovation. If all the tickets were sold before the show, it is a sold-out show. An intimate performance is one where the audience feels very close to the musicians, often in a small place with a warm feeling. An energetic crowd is an audience that is lively, excited, and reacts well to the music. And when a performance truly holds everyone's attention and feelings, it is a captivating performance. Let's go back to Anya and her violin. If she had known these words, she could have said to the conductor, "I play the violin, which is a string instrument. I use my bow and rosin to make my sound. Sometimes, I play small gigs in local cafes, but I dream of playing a concert on a big stage one day." This simple change in words would have made a much bigger conversation possible. Now, let's think about how knowing these words helps us understand music better. When we hear about an instrument like a trumpet, knowing it's a brass instrument tells us something about its sound. It is likely to be bright and strong. If a review talks about a sold-out show at a stadium, we know it was a very big event with many people. If someone says a performance was an intimate performance in a club, we can imagine a smaller, more personal atmosphere. These words are not just names. They help us create a mental picture and understand the situation of the music. For example, how can knowing the English names for different instrument groups help a musician describe their own instrument or understand others? When we know that a saxophone is a woodwind instrument, even if we have never seen one, we can start to guess what kind of sound it might make. We can also understand how it is similar to other instruments. For example, a clarinet is also a woodwind, and although they sound different, they have some similarities in how they make sound and how they fit into an orchestra or band. This grouping helps us build a mental map of the music world. If Fanya tells someone she plays the violin, and they know it's a string instrument, they might then ask about her bow or if she likes playing alone or in an orchestra. This kind of detailed vocabulary allows for much more specific and informed conversations. What are the most common English phrases used to say if a musical show was good or had problems, and why are these phrases important for musicians to know? Phrases like "the band was amazing" or "the sound system was terrible" are very important. "The band was amazing" is a simple but strong way to say the musicians played very well and the audience liked it. It can mean they were very skilled, or full of energy, or both. Knowing this helps musicians understand what audiences like. On the other hand, "the sound system was terrible" points to a technical problem that can ruin a performance, even if the musicians are playing perfectly. This phrase helps musicians explain specific issues they have. Think about phrases like "the audience was really engaged," which means people were paying close attention and showing they enjoyed it. Or "it was a challenging performance," which might mean the musicians had difficulties like technical problems, being sick, or an audience that did not react much. Knowing these phrases allows musicians to explain their experiences clearly, whether they are talking to other musicians, sound engineers, or even just friends. For Anya, being able to say, "I felt a bit nervous on stage, but the audience was so kind, it made it a captivating performance for me," shows a deeper understanding of her feelings and communication than just saying, "it was okay." These phrases also help in giving and getting helpful advice. A musician might say, "I think my timing was a bit off during the fast part," or "I loved how you used dynamics to build excitement." These are specific words that point to particular parts of musical performance. Learning these words is like adding new colors to your paint box. You can create richer pictures with your words, sharing your music journey with confidence and clarity. You can describe the shiny metal of a trumpet, the smooth movement of a bow on violin strings, the loud sound of cymbals, or the gentle touch on piano keys. You can talk about the exciting feeling in a crowded club during a lively gig, the quiet before a big concert in a theater, or the shared happiness of a festival crowd. This vocabulary is not just for talking about music, it is for being a part of it. When you can correctly describe your instrument, what you need, or what you experience, you become a better communicator. This leads to better work with other musicians, clearer instructions for sound people, and a deeper connection with audiences. It helps you find more resources, understand lessons, and join the worldwide music community. Now that we can confidently talk about the instruments we play and the stages we perform on, our next step is to learn the language of how we play, the actions and skills that make music come alive. Conclusion: you have reached the end of our musical English adventure. Well done for getting this far in English for musicians. Speak the language of music. You began this book wanting to understand music better, connect more with people who love music, and share your feelings about music without any words getting in the way. You have spent time and energy And this effort is the very first step to becoming a musician who feels more sure of themselves and can talk about music better. At its heart, this book has been about giving you the important musical English words. These are the special words, phrases, and ways of talking that make up the worldwide language of music. These words are not just for remembering names. They help you understand music in a deeper, more detailed way. When you can correctly say that music is getting louder crescendo, or talk about a problem with how your fingers move fingering issue using clear English, your practice will become more focused. Your ability to talk with other musicians or teachers will get better. You have learned to talk about different kinds of music, about instruments, about reading notes on paper, and about how a performance felt. This lets you connect with musicians from all over the world, work together more easily, and share your love for music without language stopping you. Think of the musical English words you have collected as your special box of tools. Each word and phrase is like a tool that helps you build a stronger link to music and the people who make it. We explored many interesting topics. We looked at the basic parts of music ideas, giving you the words to talk about everything from which notes are the main ones, key signatures, and how many beats are in a measure time signatures to how clashing sounds, dissonance and smooth sounds, consonants can make music sound exciting. You learned how to talk about your practice time, discussing exercises to warm up, reading music you haven't seen before, sight reading, and how to explain the hard parts of getting a difficult section or skill just right. When it came to playing for others, you learned the words to describe the exciting feeling of a live show. Gig, to give helpful comments, critique on how a song sounds, or to share the joy of a successful concert recital. Whether you were talking about how a violin player moves their stick bow or the special feeling groove of a jazz band, the specific words for instruments and music styles have opened up new musical worlds for you. In each of these parts, the main aim has been to carefully build your musical English words. This book has given you a good start, but the world of music and words is always changing. Your journey with musical English words is just beginning. Listen closely to interviews with musicians you like, read about concerts or music albums, and join online groups where people talk about music. Don't be afraid to use the words you have learned. The more you speak and write about music in English, the more natural it will feel. Don't worry about being perfect. Every time you try to use a new phrase or word, you are moving forward. Mistakes are just chances to learn and become better. By learning these musical English words well, you are doing more than just learning words. You are opening doors to a worldwide group of musicians who are eager to share, learn, and create together. You now have a strong set of tools to move through the world of music with more confidence and clarity. Go ahead and speak the language of music with all your feeling and exactness. May your musical journey be full of amazing discoveries, important connections, and beautiful ways of showing yourself. Thank you for being a part of this learning adventure. Keep playing, keep learning, and keep speaking the language of music.